Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most exciting fights in UFC history. We're talking about DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev. I'm super, ultra pumped about this fight. I'm so excited about this fight. I don't even know how to express it. I don't know how I can express how excited I am about this fight. Let me just turn on the light here. It's a little bit dark. These two guys are maybe the two best finishers in MMA history. DDP is finishing everybody. Khamzat's finishing almost everybody. He didn't finish Usman, didn't finish Gilbert Burns, but he's annihilating guys. Annihilation with strikes, with submissions. Both these men are like runaway trains. When it comes to finishing, they attack. They're relentless. Their records are spotless. I always love fights where I don't know what's gonna happen. I look at the blue corner. I'm like, that guy's a killer. He's gonna beat anybody. Then I look in the red corner. I'm like, wait a second. No, that guy's a killer and he can beat absolutely anybody. And this is one of those fights. I keep looking from one corner to the other, and I have no idea who's gonna win this fight. It's an absolutely insane matchup. I'm super ultra excited about this fight. But guys, I'm going to give you my pick. I didn't look at the odds makers. I don't want to see any of that. I'm telling you, I'm picking Khamzat Chimaev. I know we're going to dispute. I know we're going to go back and forth. I put a poll. I know I'm not going to do a thorough, ultra, super close look breakdown like I always do. I'll tell you why. Because we're all thinking the same thing. Everybody here is thinking the same thing. Does Khamzat have the cardio to finish 5 rounds? If Khamzat doesn't win in the first 2, DDP is going to take over. Everybody thinks that. I don't care. Even if your grandma just watched 5 minutes of Khamzat and 5 minutes of DDP, she would come to the same conclusion. Why? Khamzat has showed that he fades in later rounds. It's been his Achilles heel. He's so phenomenal. Nobody could beat this man. If fights had a 7-minute time limit, imagine for some reason the state of Nevada, the state of, the USA, they made, okay, you guys, you can fight MMA, no problem, but because, it's a bit of a dangerous sport, we're only going to allow you a 1 round of 7 minutes. That's it. Yeah, it's no holds barred. You can punch, you can kick, you can knee, you could wrestle, you could choke, do all that stuff, enjoy yourselves, but the fight is 7 minutes, not 15 minutes, not 25 minutes, no ifs, ands, or buts. That's how long the fight lasts. Let me tell you guys something. Khamzat will be world champion in 3 different weight classes, and nobody would ever beat him. If you ask anybody to fight Khamzat for 7 minutes, Khamzat's going to come out on top in the first 7 minutes against anybody. But that talent seems to come at a price. He always seems to fade. Against Usman, the 3rd round, I'd have to rewatch it again, but I think he squeaked it out. I'm not even sure. I'd have to rewatch it, but you could see he was struggling. It was a struggle. It wasn't easy. You have to think, if there was 2 more rounds, what would have happened with Kamaru? When he fought Gilbert Burns, the same thing. You'd question what would happen if there was 2 more rounds. Can he finish DDP in the first 2? I put up a poll, and I'm looking at it real quick here. Does Chimaev have the cardio to win a decision? 66% say yes. That's crazy to me, okay? And, now he's training with Coach Cal. He's in the U.S., and Coach Cal he has a cycling background. He's all big on endurance, and Khamzat Chimaev is going there to see Coach Cal to see if he can increase his endurance. And, of course, we see Khamzat Chimaev training around the clock on the internet. He's training around the clock. He's training like a madman. He was training like a madman before this fight. But one thing's for sure, all experts are going to say, every regular Joe is going to say, that if he doesn't finish DDP, we all expect DDP to win 4 and 5. And maybe DDP finishes. Don't forget, DDP is also an incredible finisher. Let's look at DDP's topology here. DDP. Let's reminisce on all his finishes. He's 9-0 in UFC. He went undefeated in UFC, went all the way to the title. I think he's only ever lost once in his career. Let me look. No, he's lost twice in his career. He's 23-2. Okay, let's go back here. He lost to Soldic in 2018. Okay, that's one of my students. I actually trained Roberto Soldic for that fight. Okay, Then he won by punches, guillotine, knockout, decision. Brad Tavares went to decision with him. Okay, he didn't finish Brad Tavares. That's true. Darren Till, rear naked choke. Derek Brunson, corner stoppage. Robert Whittaker, power jab to punches. Sean Strickland, decision. Adesanya, rear naked choke. Sean Strickland, unanimous decision. The guy has an incredible finishing rate. Okay, Sean Strickland, Tavares, and I believe one more. Who else didn't get finished? No, that's it. Tavares and Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland was able to go to the distance twice with him. The man is a finisher. If Khamzat Chimaev is a little bit tired, he's going to crush Khamzat Chimaev. Is that possible? Can we see Khamzat Chimaev be dominated? I'm going with Khamzat. I think he's going to pull it off. I think he's going to go in there round 1 in the first minute. He's going to get the fight to the ground. In 60 seconds, guys. Start your timer. And in 60 seconds, probably he's going to get the fight to the ground. I think it's a high probability. He's going to get him to the ground. He's going to mangle him. He's going to work. He's going to look great in round 1. Round 2 or round 1, he gets a finish, hopefully. Okay, now could he make it to the distance and win by decision? I'm going to say yes. Yes, he can win the first 3 rounds. Maybe win the first 2, chill in the third, maybe lose a third and come back hard to win the 4th or the 5th. I believe he's going to be able to pull it off. Guys, I want to open, with that said, I want to open it up to comments and questions only on this fight, guys. No other topic, please. All right, let's see what else we got here. Hey, coach. Hello, everybody. Khamzat is a killer. This is Khamzat's first real fight. That's from Rainbow. I wouldn't say that, okay? Khamzat's fought stiff competition. He just beat Robert Whittaker. Shame on you for saying that, okay? He's fought stiff competition. He fought Kamaru Usman, one of the greatest welterweights of all time. Sure, that was short notice. Sure, it was a weight class up, but that's still Kamaru Usman. Coach is betting on the wrestler. Big surprise. No. I often take the striker too, guys. I don't always side with the wrestler. That's really untrue, 100% untrue. But I would tell you, I'm a big Khamzat fan. I would love to see him win. I'm a big DDP fan, but I'm a bigger Khamzat fan. Guys, I'm wearing my Khabib rash guard, my favorite rash guard, guys. This is my favorite rash guard. I got it in the UAE. I absolutely love this rash guard. I bought it from Khabib's gym, and you guys know me. I love shirts, and I love T-shirts. So this is the #1 rash guard in my wardrobe. Guys, with that said, don't forget to use Summer50 off promo code for JujiClub.com. Get 50% off any item on JujiClub.com. I just released Powerful Guard Retentions for Seated Guard. Check it out. It's a very strong video. Make sure you retain guard easily and effectively. I also have a Volume 1. Now I have Volume 2 out. Enjoy and make sure to use Summer50 off. Okay, guys, what else we got here? Have you guys not seen Dreykus getting ground and pounded by Darren Till? Yeah, but he ended up finishing Darren Till. How did he finish Darren Till again? Remind me. It was a hook or something? No, it was punches. No, they retired. He retired on a stool. I have to go back and rewatch that fight. I haven't seen that one in a long time. Salam, coach. I think Khamzat might win the fight, but also DDP could win this. It's very interesting. That's from Guad. You just really didn't think about that comment. You know, that obviously both guys can win. Obviously, both these guys are crazy, strong finishers. Now, you guys see DDP, like when he's fighting, sometimes he's breathing with his mouth open. He's like huffing and puffing. But man, that guy will grind it out to the end. He doesn't stop fighting. He looks fatigued, but he just keeps pushing. He's relentless. Can Khamzat dig deep? Can the wolf dig deep when it gets tough? I think so. I think he's going to have a major advantage in wrestling, but he has to use it wisely. That's the thing. He's been reckless with his wrestling. He's been a bit crazy with his wrestling. He's done crazy things where he's spending more energy than he needs to. I think if he has a healthy fear of losing this fight, if he doesn't go in overconfident, and he actually controls his pace, he doesn't just do reckless stuff, he could beat DDP. But if he goes in there, picks up DDP, slams him around, lets him back up, slams him around, lets him back up, starts taunting DDP, starts acting crazy, he could lose the fight. He did that a bit with Gilbert Burns. I didn't like it. I thought it was crazy. I thought he was underestimating Gilbert Burns. In round 1, he was kind of like, he took Gilbert down. He worked hard for the takedown. Then he let Gilbert back up. Then he starts striking each other. Gilbert hit him. Instead of making adjustments, he starts like, yeah, let's go. Let's keep it. It's like, dude, don't get crazy, man. One wrong punch, one failed takedown, and you could lose the round. And that was a very close fight. If you watched the Gilbert Burns fight, I found it very close. I thought it could have even went the other way. I gave it to Khamzat. I'm not saying I didn't give it to Khamzat. I absolutely did. But I could see people argue that Gilbert won that fight. And especially Gilbert was doing really well in round one until he got hit with that jab and knocked down. He was doing well. It was a close first round. But I had to give it, of course, to Chimaev for the knockdown. No doubt about it. It was a close third round. The third round was also very close. That's a great fight, actually. I go back and watch that fight every so often. That was a phenomenal fight. Chimaev has been training with Sadulev, a Russian national team. I reckon his wrestling will be even more technical. That's from MX. MX, I agree. He's training with some top Russians. His wrestling's going to be a cut above. It's going to be a cut above, and it's always been. And I'm not surprised if he takes DDP down in the first 2 minutes. It would not surprise me at all. Do you agree with Khabib said about Khamzat keeping it standing? That's from Malcor. No, Malco, I wouldn't keep it standing. Okay, I would use my stand-up to try to get it to the ground. I would be a little more patient. If I was training Khamzat for this fight, I would tell him, don't be so obvious in your takedown. Like, don't just shoot blindly, because even if you get the takedown, it's just you're wearing yourself out. You just take it easy. Try to find a nice, easy takedown, right? To find the right opportunity. Because DDP is going to be on high alert in round one, minute one. You gotta fight with DDP. You gotta strike with him. You gotta fight with him standing. And you gotta surprise him with the takedown. Because if you surprise him with the takedown, it's gonna be a lot easier than taking DDP and slamming him on the ground and holding him down. It's just so much more work, so much more risk. Obviously, DDP is going to be at high alert. So fake your shot, throw some strikes, fake your shot, throw some strikes, fake your shot, throw some strikes. Don't let him know when you're coming. Don't let him know when you're coming. And when he makes a wrong move or if he overpunches, take him down. The more you catch him by surprise, the easier the takedown is going to be. All right, guys, I'm only doing questions on this fight. Okay, guys, yes, I would love to train with you all. Do come to TriStar, of course, but we're talking about the fight. Khamzat Chimaev versus DDP. Guys, how excited are you about this fight? I'm pumped about this fight. I know it's next week, but I was going to do a pre-fight analysis next week. I couldn't wait. I'm so pumped up about this fight. And I know a lot of us are thinking the same thing. It's either Khamzat in the first two or DDP is going to take 3, 4, and 5. I think that's what everybody would be thinking along the lines. It's a crazy fight. Why? Because Chimaev is such a strong starter. It's insane how strong of a starter he is. Coach, you should have watched the Weasel MMA breakdown of the fight. It's quite interesting. Maybe I will. Coach, do you think Khamzat's striking, especially his power, is underestimated? That's from Arib. Arib, he's a hard hitter, man. Khamzat is a hard hitter, but so is DDP. That's going to be really interesting how they're going to exchange. Guys, you have to give, in my opinion, you have to give DDP a little bit more credit and edge in striking because he's done a lot more striking. He has a kickboxing background. He's more tried and true in the striking. Khamzat has had a lot of success. A lot of his success has come from wrestling and ground game. And yes, he's landed some big shots of his own, but nowhere near as good as DDP. The pedigree is nowhere near as good. Yes, he knocked down Mearshart in round one and got on top of him and finished him. It was a beautiful combination. It was a beautiful, powerful shot. He's done it to a couple of guys outside the UFC, but I still wouldn't say his striking is at the caliber of a DDP. So for me, I'm going to give DDP the edge in striking. DDP has unorthodox wrestling. Could he take Khamzat down? That's from Leo. Leo, yes, he can take Khamzat down because he's a big, strong guy and he shoots in like a gorilla. It's incredible. When he shoots in, it's like a football tackle almost. It's like he's such a big chunk of muscle. If you're in his way, he could trip you up and bring you down to the mat. He can just charge you and bulldoze you over. But his wrestling is not as good as Khamzat. It's not. And to Khamzat, his unorthodox style is not going to matter. So for DDP could do all sorts of weird things. It ain't going to bother Khamzat. I'll tell you, Khamzat's seen weird things. It's irrelevant to Khamzat. What is relevant to Khamzat is how strong DDP is. Okay, his double leg doesn't come from the slickest technique. He's got good technique, yeah, but no, not the level of Khamzat. Okay, Khamzat has seen much higher caliber wrestling. But DDP is a freak athlete. When he tackles you, it's like an NFL player running into your legs. Okay, he's just a runaway train. When he shoots, it's not always clean, but it's powerful. In fact, I think DDP will be the one fatigue. That's from Guad. Guad, yeah, he does fatigue. I've noticed that too. Okay, he does seem to fatigue. But let me ask you this. He fatigues, but does his work rate slow down? He fatigues. He's feeling the pain, but then he starts working harder. He starts working harder. And he kind of keeps up his pace. He doesn't really slow down. Sometimes he takes a little break here and there, but his output is really good. In my opinion, Khamzat seems like if not round 3 against Kumaro, and I have to go back and rewatch it, but I felt like if he didn't get that takedown, it could have been a problem. Like he took Kumaro down, got side control, held him down, and pinned him, and like you could tell he kind of needed a break. You could tell, in my opinion, that he was holding down a guy who took the fight on 1 week's notice, 1 weight class below, should be below, and he had to hold him down. He had to take a break. But again, that was a while back. Khamzat now has had time to up his cardio. And as we all know, now he's in the garage, and I believe it's California. And he's training with Coach Cal. And Coach Cal is known for getting guys in good shape. He's known for endurance work. Coach, is Khamzat's cardio similar to McGregor? Because McGregor is also a fast starter as well and slows down later. That's from Arch. I think they do have that in common, but Khamzat's more intense. Khamzat is much more intense. I think McGregor was more relaxed and he could flow. And if he got into the right beat, he could do 5 rounds. But the thing is, if you make McGregor fight out of his comfort zone, you can kind of break him. Khamzat doesn't have that flow. He doesn't have that pace and I'll save some for a little bit for later. No, it seems like his personality. And don't forget, guys, I'll tell you something. You could train 10 people the same way and they all fight differently. Why? Personality is huge. Personality shines during your fight. When you're fighting, your personality will show. How you are in life is how you fight. Believe it or not, it's kind of weird. But like, look at kind of like Royce Gracie. Royce Gracie grew up in the same system as Renzo Gracie. I was a big fan of both watching them. And you'd see that Renzo was like a fireball. He'd come out of the fight. He'd be hopping around. He'd drop in the guy's legs, get down, start elbowing. Like, he was frantic in his fighting. Of course, he was super technical. He would get the submission, but he was a wild man. He was like a pit bull. Whereas Royce was like methodical. They both trained in the same school of thought. They both trained under the Gracie clan. 2 guys train the same way. But when they get in there, they behave completely differently. Royce is cool. Royce kind of waits a little bit. Royce is kind of holding you. He's waiting for you to make a mistake. He's much more patient. But in life, when you meet them, Royce is kind of laid back. He's chill. He tells a joke or two. He's calm. It shows his personality. Renzo, in your room, and Renzo, and guys, I love being in the same space as Renzo. He's a wild man. He's telling stories, making everybody laugh. He's the center of attention. He's very charismatic. He's like super energetic. They fight like how their personalities, have developed. And you could tell that Khamzat's such an intense individual. He's like, I'm gonna kill everyone. I'm gonna kill everyone. Yeah, you want to kill everyone. That's great. Wolf, that's great. But if he had a coach that can kind of like point him in the right direction and keep him on the game plan, but he'd have to have a coach he really respects. A coach like he thinks, my coach really knows what's best for me. He has a trust in his coach. Because right now, I would see that I don't know who's the lion tamer in Khamzat's camp. Who can control that fireball? Who can tell him something and get him to go on a different path? Because yes, you want to kill everyone. And that's what you want. You want a fighter who's just ready to fight anybody. But also he could take commands. He could take different options and understand that sometimes the team is telling you to do something, so you're going to do it. And if Khamzat had that, I think he could be a much better fighter. Because right now, we all know what's going to happen. The bell is going to ring, or the horn's going to sound, or whatever you want to call it. The referee's going to say fight. And Khamzat's going to go all out, man. He's going to be so pumped. He's going to be so excited. He's going to be so charged because I bet you that's how he is. I bet you he's a bit of an emotional person. He gets very fired up. He's very emotional. It's all about how he feels. And when he gets into the octagon and it's time to unleash his emotions, he's just going to run wild. And I think that could be his best weapon and also in later rounds, his worst weapon. So at first, it's going to be his best weapon because I really think he's going to be a ball of fire in the first round and a half. All right, guys, this is from Shiz, the top G of the chat. Everyone name only one fighter who out-wrestled, outclassed, KO'd in 13 seconds, lifted opponents off the ground, walked him to Dana White, took hard shots from number 2 fighter Gilbert Burns, broke former champ Robert's jaw, and finished opponents one round. Who? That's from Shiz. Shiz is telling you who's ever done anything like Chimaev. Guys, that is a tall order. That is a very tall order. Chimaev has proved time and time again that he's very special. I remember watching it, his first 3 fights, and I was thinking, is this the greatest rise to the title we've ever seen? Is this possible? Because he's on a track right now to show us like he might have the greatest title run ever. But then, of course, the Gilbert Burns slowed that down. The Kumar Usman fight slowed that down. Shiz, because I know Shiz is very big on Khamzat. He's been telling us about Khamzat since day one, and I'm very big on Khamzat as well. But I'll tell you something. Right now, if he wins the title, let's say, I would still say Ilia Toporia's rise to the title was greater. Why? Because he had less. He showed. It's hard to say. I couldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, but. Offensively, nobody has been as good as Khamzat. Defensively, there's been much better. That's what I got to say. Because Topuria was just better defensively, but not maybe, and it's crazy to say, maybe not as entertaining offensively. It's hard to say because Ilya has been incredibly offensive as well. It's kind of difficult. Look, I think we can argue about that forever, but Ilya was much more, maybe they were equal in offense, but Ilya was more defensively sound and more robust. He never showed like he's wavering. We've seen Chimaev show signs of wavering. I don't think I've ever seen. Oh, well, okay. We're going to have to talk about the Jay Herbert fight. Yes, Ilya got hit. Ilya got hurt, but he came back quickly to turn things around. Okay, we saw a chink in his armor, but still less than Khamzat. I think defensively he was more responsible. Oh, thank you. What's this? Not for me. Khamzat really said he will feel his opponent, and if he feels he can break him, he will redline them like Rob Whittaker, Kevin Holland. That's from Izzy. Izzy, it's easy to say that. It's easy to say, oh, this fight I'm going to kind of pace myself at first, and if I feel I can break him and go. I'm telling you, that makes sense. But haven't you seen Khamzat's behavior in the octagon? He fights with emotion. He's not as tactical as a Topuria. He's not as tactical as a GSP. He's not as tactical as some of these other greats. He's more emotional. And that's what makes him so entertaining, because he goes out there and it's a fight. He's not playing points. He's not playing games. He's not thinking about the time. He's going out there to do, like he says, kill everybody. And that's what he does, man. He goes out there. I think that game plan is going to go out the window. Now, some fighters can handle a game plan. Some fighters can mature throughout their career and follow game plans more. He reminds me a bit of a Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler, earlier on in his career, I don't think he, talking to Pat Miletich back in the day, he didn't want a game plan. He just wanted to go out there and fight. And as he matured, as he got older, he realized that, hey, there's different type of fighters out there, and you can't approach them all the same. And I think he wisened up and he became world champion. Because I remember when he was young, Pat Miletich was always telling me about him. He's like, this guy got this kid, Robbie Lawler. He's really, really good. You don't understand? He's a phenom. He would tell me all about him. And then I saw him and I was like, wow, he's great. And then he got into a few hard fights. And then he had a loss against, what was it again? Who was it again? Pat. Anyways, I had a really bad loss in UFC Florida. I was there, actually. And I had another fighter on the card, and Pat Miletich was there, and we were hanging out, and he was like, you're going to see my boy. He's going to do amazing. And Robbie ended up losing that fight, actually quite badly. He took a lot of bad kicks to the leg. He was really badly injured. And I think he kept coming back stronger and smarter throughout his career and got more mature. We might see that out of a Khamzat. We might see that Khamzat needs time to mature. But as of now, I don't know if he has that trainer that's holding the reins. I think he's just a wildcat out there. He just goes out in the octagon and he's a wildcat. There's nobody taming him. It's his best weapon, but it's also going to be his worst nightmare in round 3, 4, and 5. I think Khamzat makes DDP pay for his poor fundamentals in ways other opponents have failed. Coach, do you have any personal experience with addiction? Okay, I can't answer about addiction, but JC, I'll tell you something. Look, I'm a big believer in DDP's striking style. A lot of people say, oh, it's wrong, it's goofy. I don't agree with that. I think everything he does makes sense. Everything he does makes sense. He's a shifter. Okay, he switches stances when he punches. I think that's all great stuff. I think it belongs. Other people have done it before him. It's just for some reason now people are all criticizing him. Fedor did it for many years. Many great fighters have done it. I don't think there's anything wrong with the way he strikes. I don't think his mechanics are wrong or anything like that. That's absolutely absurd. It works. He's winning. He's champion of the world. If he's doing it so wrong, if he's so bad, why don't you guys get in there? Why don't you glove up? Why don't you lace up? Why don't you show up to it? Why don't you buy a ticket, fly down to his gym, lace up, tell him, hey man, listen, I can't stand watching you on TV, how bad your mechanics are, how inefficient they are. I'm going to step in the ring today and teach you a little lesson. You won't do that. Why? Because you know he's such a great fighter. What he does works. And just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not good. DDP is a brilliant striker. Now here's the thing. He's not an orthodox striker. He's not an orthodox striker. So some people are going to be like, from a kickboxing background, and they're going to be like, oh, coach, what are you saying? No, guys, there are other ways to fight. There are many ways to fight. Your school of thought is one school of thought, and me and you might be from the same school of thought. Or I might subscribe to your school of thought very much, but not 100%. Okay? I've seen guys use his school of thought, his school of fighting, and it works. It works. It works at the highest level. So how could people say it doesn't work? It's insane. Like, shifting works, man. Many fighters shift. It's just because it's not the way most people learn how to kickbox or do Muay Thai. Well, so what? How many Muay Thai guys are having success in MMA? Excuse me, there are some, but it's not like the Muay Thai fighters are coming in Thailand, learning a few years of wrestling and dominating everybody. There's drawbacks to pure Muay Thai styles, right? Because you're kicking so much, you can get taken down, etc. He found a way to make it work. Hot take. I think Khamzat is going to make this look easy. Dreykus got controlled by Brunson for an entire round and gave up his neck. That's from MX. MX, I don't agree, man. I really don't agree. It's not going to be easy. Look, Khamzat might school him in one round. It could happen, but it's not going to be easy, man. I'm telling you. You can't do MMA math like that. I just don't. I'm so sick of MMA math. It just doesn't work. All right, guys, we have super chats. I know Chimaev's coach has put some people on stuff, so I hope Khamzat gets on something for this fight because DDP is on a lot. That's from Ahmad. Ahmad says he has an insight. Ahmad, how do you know Khamzat Chimaev's coach puts people on a lot of stuff? I'd like to know how you know that. Are you privy to the camp? And you hope Chimaev's on a lot of stuff because DDP is also on a lot of stuff. Well, maybe this is not from Ahmad Sheikh, but this is really from the Diaz brothers, one of the Diaz brothers. Maybe it's Nate Diaz typing under an anonymous name. Because you know how Nate always says, everybody's on stuff. Everybody's on stuff. Guys, I don't know if Coach Cal's ever been busted for a fighter. I've never heard, so I don't know. But DDP also, I don't think has ever been busted. I've never heard of DDP getting busted or his coach or his team. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I think it's a little bit presumptuous. There will be no third and fourth round, coach. That's from Sheikh. Inshallah. Khamzat will always win in the first round. Man, I don't know. It's such a tall order, man. It's such a tall order. I think he could take him down, take his back, control him. Maybe put him in a darce. Maybe rear naked choke and break his jaw. But I don't think so. Not that. It's gonna be tough. It might take 2 rounds. It might take 2 rounds. And look, I think Chimaev can win a decision. I think he can win the first 3 rounds. Fight hard. Fight his heart out in the last two, and he wins it. It's very possible. It's very, very possible, especially, if he actually paces himself a little bit. All guys saying the Usman fight was close are out of their mind. That's from PG. PG, I don't agree with you, man. It was a close fight. Round 1 was a blowout. I would have gave it a 10-8 even. But round 2 and 3 were competitive. I think it's not a cardio problem. I think it's just an energy management issue. That's what I mean. I would agree that it's both. I think it's genetically, he's more fast twitch, but also he mismanages his energy. Look, imagine you're making lots of money. Maybe you're making, let's call it like, I don't know. Let's say you're making like $10,000 a week. You're making $10,000 a week, man. That's a ton of money. But if you don't spend it right, if you mismanage it, you're broke. I saw a headline. Oh, Money Mayweather going broke. I'm not saying that's true. Okay, for them, broke is like, I only have $25 million to spend this year on my clothes. Oh, I'm broke. No, these guys are rich, but it can't be that you made $1 billion and you mismanaged it. It can happen and you end up broke. It can happen. I don't think it has happened. I don't think it will happen. But you'd have to be a moron to lose that much money. You'd have to be a moron. Honestly, you have to be brain dead to lose that much money. But it can happen. I hate to say it. It can happen. All right, guys. I'm just double checking something. Okay. Coach, thoughts on Saif Saud? He's also very educated. 514 Crips. 514 Crips. He's a good friend of mine. We hang out at the shows all the time. He's my man. I love Saif. Shout out to my boy Saif. Sorry for swearing. Good morning from Egypt. That's from Ibrahim. Ibrahim, good morning, my brother. He will be taken down in the first 20 seconds. Guys, DDP is a gorilla. A gorilla. And he's going to be on high alert in the first minute. But it can happen. That's how good Chimaev is. He gets so low. Did you guys see his shot on Whitaker? He was so low. If you get that low with his reach and his grip and his wrestling pedigree, yes, he could do it. I think it's crazy that you say that, but I somewhat have to agree with you. That's very possible. It's very possible. Khamzat dies if he can't get a finish in round 2. All right, guys, I'm not going to do this over and over again. I think so many of us think, okay, that either guy can finish, but Khamzat's going to finish in the first 2 or he's going to lose in the last 3. I'm looking at the poll here. 59% say that Chimaev can finish and win by decision. I have to agree. I'm picking Chimaev, and I think he has a chance to win not only by finish, but also by decision. But it's going to be a long, hard-fought battle. He's going to have to manage his energy. Can the Wolf keep his cool? Can the Wolf keep his cool? That's the real question. Or is he going to blow his top in the heat of the moment, the hype of the fight? Because you guys got to remember, nobody hypes up a fight more than UFC. It's crazy. I've been in promotions all over the world. I've been everywhere. And nobody hypes up a fight like UFC. UFC will make an undercard fight, an early prelim fight, feel like it's the most important fight. They'll make you feel like if you're the fighter, you're having your debut fight or whatnot, they're going to make you feel like this is the most important fight that ever was, and there's no other fights on the card. Like, that's how they pump up your fight. They make you do interviews, photo shoots, talk to this person, talk to that person, pose like this, pose like that. You have to go here. You have to go the press conference. They make you do so much. You're like, wow, man, this fight is a really big deal. Now, if you're in a title fight, it's insane. Like, fly here, go promote it here, fly there, go promote it here. There's this phone call. Like you're doing promo all the way up to your fight. The week of the fight, they have you doing stuff. The week of the fight, they have you interviewing, going, not just one, all sorts of interviews, all sorts of hoops you got to jump through. It's a circus, man. It's a circus. It's fatiguing. It saps your energy. It's like you almost forgot, hey, we have to actually fight here. We're just talking about the fight nonstop. Don't think when you see them leave the media, when they do the public media, don't think they're done. They got other calls to make. They got other things to do. They got other, they have to get in front of other cameras. It's so much promotion. Sometimes it's like, okay, you're doing the Spanish interview. It's like Spanish interview with a translator. Like the media machine of UFC when you're in a title fight will put your head in a spin. This is going to be worse for Khamzat than for DDP. Why? DDP's been through the process. He's had Adesanya and the 2 Strickland fights, so he's felt it, and he's more of a personality where he jokes around. He's a witty guy. He goes back and forth with everybody. Chimaev is like a tiger, man. He's hungry. Like every word now is all about going to trigger his emotions. I think by the time he gets to the fight, guys, I hate to say it, but if he doesn't manage the circus of having a title fight in the biggest promotion and the most hyped up title fight of the year, this is going to be so much to live up to. And I'm telling you, if he doesn't have somebody in his ear, if he doesn't have somebody telling him that it's all hype and he shouldn't put more into it than it is, if he doesn't have somebody with experience walking him through it, and all he has around him is hype men, and they're also getting hyped, and they're also thinking it's the biggest thing, and they're also thinking, if he has nothing but hype men around him, it could suffocate him. It could suffocate him. Why? Because if it's the case that he's that hyped up, that he's that amped up, that there's that much importance on his shoulders, and he's going to have like one world leader calling him a few minutes before the fight. He's going to have to pick up that call. He's going to have to listen to a pep talk. He's going to do all these things. He's going to get in there. He's going to be so charged up. Then in round 1, he's going to completely forget his game plan, and he's going to revert to what he does. Shoot as low as possible, crush the guy, maul the guy, destroy the guy. And if this guy is so special that he doesn't get mauled, if this guy is so special that he could survive such a thunderous, violent, vicious attack from Chimaev, and Chimaev went all in because he wants to give everybody what they all were promised, he could gas out and it could backfire big. Because I will tell you something, the hype of this fight is going to be a major point advantage for DDP. DDP can handle it. DDP's been there before. DDP has the personality, the wit. He has the back and forth banter. If conversation gets heated, it seems like DDP always has something clever to say. And this could make you feel like, I got the better of the media, so I'm not angry. But if you didn't get the better of the back and forth at the media, you want to shut his mouth up. It's like McGregor versus Aldo. McGregor got the better in the media. McGregor bullied Aldo. Aldo was so angry. The hype was so... Guys, I'll tell you something. I love Jose Aldo. I'm a huge Jose Aldo fan. But Jose Aldo also is similar to Khamzat in that sense. He's very emotional. He's very emotional. He's a very smart guy. He's very technical. He's a brilliant human being. But with McGregor, he didn't fight well. He could have fought way better than that. If him and McGregor didn't do 2 world tours and he didn't know McGregor, imagine he liked McGregor and him and McGregor are buddies and he has to fight him reluctantly, he would have beat McGregor. He went in there and he threw the 2 worst punches of his entire career. All power, no setup, no technique. He just forgot everything he's ever learned. And of course, McGregor threw probably one of the best punches ever in UFC history. McGregor was the opposite. Cool, relaxed, smooth, quick in and out. And he saw the right punch at the right time and ping. And he did everything a fighter's supposed to do. And he did it while he was cool and clear-minded. And he was in a zen state. Like, he didn't seem nervous at all. And that was such a hyped-up fight. Guys, that was one of the most excited fights I've never... That's one of the... If you tell me, Coach, name the top 5 fights you've been most excited for, that's probably one of them. Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor. And I'll tell you something. Conor McGregor got the best of him mentally. He did. I hate to say it. The guy was cool. He was calm. Yeah, he talked at the press conference. Yeah, he got under Aldo's skin. Yeah, he got, he grabbed the belt and he lifted it and he created a circuit. He was putting on a show. But when it came to fighting, he was able to turn that off. When it came to the fight, he was able to stay cool. Aldo wasn't. Can you guys tell me, you think Chimaev is going to stay cool after everything you've seen from him in the octagon? And I'm a big Chimaev fan. Guys, don't forget I'm picking Chimaev here. But I'm telling you one thing for sure that's not on Chimaev's side. After round 3, let's call it after round 2 is done. For rounds 3, 4, and 5, it's not going to be in his favor. All that emotion, all that energy, emotional energy. It's not going to be in his favor. It's going to be in his favor in rounds 1 and 2. It might get the job done in rounds 1 and 2. His craziness might get it all done. However, it could backfire big time. Coach, read my justice message for Khamzat up top. That's from Shiz. Your justice message. 514 Crypt. I'll have to save that one for later because I'm only doing the Chimaev DDP fight right now. I'm going to switch it up real soon. I'm just trying to find Mr. Shiz's... Please explain what's the big thing you've seen of DDP's grappling defense. I just don't understand what you're seeing. That's from... look, I'll tell you something. It's just that he's a big gorilla, okay? He was taking his time maybe with Brunson, He's just surviving, taking his time, and he was going to turn it on him later, But he's much better. He's just an incredibly strong athlete. I'm not saying he's anywhere near as good as Chimaev in wrestling, okay? But Chimaev is not the slickest jiu-jitsu guy either, okay? He has a Dars, he has a good squeeze, yes. And, of course, he's a good back taker, but he's not going to be super efficient on the ground. I think DDP is going to be strong. He's going to be able to match those strength levels especially for the 3rd and 4th and 5th round when we see Chimaev's strength levels dip. At first, he might get overwhelmed, but he's strong enough to survive, tough enough to survive, smart enough to survive, potentially. Now, again, don't forget, I'm picking Chimaev. I'm just telling you I could see it the other way as well. But ultimately, I'm picking Chimaev. Coach, analysts predicted former champ Robert was going to be his toughest fight. Never been in 5 rounds. And what happened, followers? Gilbert fans, can't you admit Khamzat took Gilbert's hardest shots like it was nothing? That's from Shiz. Shiz, let me tell you something. I wouldn't brag about the Gilbert Burns fight. Okay, he beat a very tough guy and he won, but it wasn't a blowout by any means. And yeah, he took Gilbert's best shots, but Gilbert's not the biggest, hardest hitter in the game. Let's look at Gilbert Burns' knockout ratio. You can't compare it with DDP, man. DDP is another level of power. Okay, Gilbert Burns has 6 KO wins, okay? Wow, let's look here. Okay, he's lost 4 fights in a row right now. Okay, he's lost 4 fights in a row. There's a lot to be said about those 4 fights. Okay, so here, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out of his 8 last fights, he's lost 6. Now, some of those fights were closer than we remember. Remember the JDM fight, okay? He was winning, got knocked out in, I think, a minute left, not even. A little over a minute left. Who has he knocked out? Let's see here. By Kumaro, he got knocked down by a jab and then to ground and pound. Okay, remember that jab? Also, Khamzat dropped him with a jab. Okay, so he's kind of been susceptible to being knocked down. He might not have the best chin. He beat George Masvidal. Who is he knocked out in UFC? He beat Tyron Woodley. He beat Damian Maia. Okay, Damian Maia with a big hook. Actually, I was in Brazil for that one. That was in Brazil, if I remember correctly. He knocked out Damian Maia. Okay. Who else has he knocked out in UFC? He beat Gunny in UFC. No, he's not knocked out anybody in UFC other than Damian Maia. And Damian Maia, okay, no, he lost to Dan Hooker by punches. He beat Dan Moret by punches. Jason Sago by punches. That was a long time ago. That was in Montreal. UFC Toronto. I was there. What else we got here? Okay, so he's knocked out 3 guys in UFC. It's not the same pedigree as a DDP, guys. It's not comparable. DDP is a much more well-versed striker. All right, guys, let's open it up to Ask Me Anything, okay? I'm going to be opening it up now to absolutely anything. We can keep talking about this fight, but I think we've kind of like, I think we've done our round here. I think a lot of us think that he can finish DDP, but man, if he doesn't. I thought Coach Cal got in trouble with TJ Dillashaw. Let's see, was it Coach Cal that took the blame? TJ Dillashaw. I know Dillashaw was definitely training with him, but was it him that took the blame for it? Who's TJ Dillashaw's? Yeah, it's Coach Cal, Sam Calvita. Well, look, I don't know the ins and outs, but I can tell you for sure, for certain, Dillashaw was on gear, long before he got busted. Long before he got busted for EPO and this and that. He was already on gear. Because if you look at his old fights, he had a very normal body. He's in good shape, but he had a normal body. And all of a sudden, he's like shredded, muscular, bouncing around like a gazelle, never gets tired. You always got to go back and look at the older fights. There's a certain amount of progression you can make, and there's a certain amount of leap you'll get if you're on PEDs. And look, we've seen those leaps. We've seen them. We know how it happens. It's not like us trainers were dumb. We've seen guys get on PEDs. They had a similar experience. So how did you do it? Well, I started wiggling my little toe before I go to bed. I don't believe in those kind of things. You have to show me something concrete, So please explain why the best thing you've seen of DDP grappling defense. Okay, no, we did that one already. Okay. Guys, I always do super chats and non-super chats. I just hate missing super chats. Why? Because these guys are spending their hard-earned money. Peter Yan is my favorite fighter. How do you help him beat Merab? That's from 514 Crypt. Well, obviously, he's got to stop Merab's crazy striking. And right now, it just seems like nobody can do it. He just seems to have this never-ending cardio hack. And I'd have to sit down and think about it. But if I figured it out, I wouldn't tell you, my friends. I would have to keep it for myself. Something I've not heard anyone speak about is the fact that Khamzat has someone who fought DDP in Darren Till. I think that's something. What happened with DDP and Darren Till? Hold on, let's see. He does train with Darren Till, but I don't think he just trains with Darren Till anymore. Hold on a second. Did he fight Darren Till? What? Oh, yeah, right. He beat Darren Till, 3rd round. Oh, yeah, I watched that fight, actually. You don't know. It comes back to mind. Yeah, he kind of schooled him. I was watching that fight for the breakdown of DDP versus Strickland, and he kind of schooled. I remember him schooling Till, and it wasn't going well for Till. I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but I remember him breaking Till and just taking his back. I can't remember exactly the details. Coach, have you fought/rolled with professional fighters? Yes, all the time. That's from Super Muddy. Super Muddy asks, Coach, have you fought/rolled with professional fighters? How does the strength of pros feel compared to that of average man? Super Muddy, I've wrestled and grappled with everybody. Everybody. And done MMA with literally everybody. Like from John Jones, GSP, Tyrone Woodley, Rory McDonald. Like all the top guys, all of them. Okay, on a regular basis. And I still do. Okay, so I have, UFC fighters all the time in and out of the gym. And I do glove up every so often. Absolutely do. And I roll and wrestle every day. Okay, so we definitely cross paths quite regularly. How do they feel compared to the average man? Guys, I got to tell you something. And I don't want to sound like an arrogant bastard here or anything like that. But An average guy feels very weak to a UFC fighter. Okay, very weak. Like it's like if let's say you're wrestling with your son, an average guy will feel like that. A guy who's never trained before. Oh my goodness gracious! No, it's just like a chew toy. Just like a chew toy, guys. It's like it doesn't matter how he doesn't have to be strong physically. Yeah, he might like let's say he has a football background or hockey background or he's like a track and field guy and we lock horns. Yeah, he'll be strong, but as soon as we start moving around, he's gonna get tripped. He's gonna get thrown. He's gonna get pinned. He's gonna get choked. It's really, really easy. Okay, we're talking about somebody untrained but super fit from another sport, or even if he's a bodybuilder, or like if he's not trained in our sport for years. No, it feels like you could just crush them. It's just really, it's something else. That's why I always like wonder how do people not train? Like how to like it's gonna develop into a confidence problem, So it's just like, no, it's just unbelievably unimaginable to me that some people out there just don't train. It's just crazy. What if one day somebody tries to like, get in your way or push you around? How do you defend yourself? I personally couldn't live like that, knowing that I can't defend myself. When I was young, I used to get bullied all the time. That's why I became obsessed with martial arts. I don't want people to bully me, push me around, take my things, like it's not going to happen. No, I was fed up. So, yeah, a regular guy, if you lock horns with a regular guy. Like, I remember one time these guys came in and from out of town and they came in to visit TriStar. And they were all, like, 5 guys were, like, doing the class. And I noticed they were all, like, together. And I was like, hey, guys, you guys from out of town? They're like, yeah, our friend's getting married. I said, oh, he's getting married. Yeah, it's cool. He's like, would you roll with him? I said, sure, I'll roll with him. And the guy was maybe, like, I've done this many times. But the guy, this particular case, the guy maybe been training, like, only, like 2 years or something. Okay, so it was, like, maybe a blue belt. So because it was his bachelor weekend and one of the things they wanted to do is go to TriStar Gym and train, I felt, that's pretty cool. They're coming here to train, so I'll roll with him. So as I was rolling with him, I said, look, his friends wanted me to rough him up, and I did. They were filming it, but that's a guy training 2 years. And I was just throwing him around, choking him, just dismantling him. But that's only a guy training 2 years. I've been training 20 plus years now. I'm training like 25 years every day. It's just too much of a difference. It's too crazy of a difference. And like, I don't know how to tell you. It's like an average person is not even trained. It's just too easy to take them down. It's too easy to submit them. It's too easy to punch them. It's too easy to kick them. Like if they make a fist and throw it, it's like slow motion. It's just crazily easy. Just insane. Khamzat hype train. Khamzat hype train. Cat is gonna be retired after this fight. That's from Matt. Matt doesn't believe in the Khamzat hype train. Guys, even if he loses, he's still a phenomenal fighter. He's gonna go back to the drawing board. He's gonna figure things out, and he's gonna come back. I think he's eventually gonna become champion. TJ Dillashaw was busted, and Khamzat has his coach for cardio right now. That's from Simon. Simon, that is the case. That is the case. Imagine Chimaev versus Ankalaev / Pereira. Of course, if Khamzat beats DDP first, that's from Fight Fanatic. Yeah, he would have to beat DDP. And then he can go and fight in a higher weight class. But I'll tell you something. DDP is going to be a tall order. If I was him, I wouldn't even talk about that. I would just focus on DDP. DDP might be harder than a Pereira fight. Not an Ankalaev fight, but a Pereira fight. Will this fight be the age-old question, grappling versus striking? That's from Talal. Yeah, probably. This is another classic one. You got the wrestler in Khamzat and the striker in DDP. Absolutely. It's over for DDP. That's from Astro Traval. Coach, are you a little bit worried about Khamzat's overall reliability if he becomes champion? That's from BL. Well, after COVID, I heard, during COVID, I should say, I heard he got really sick, almost died. And he actually proclaimed his retirement. That's how bad his disease was. His COVID reaction was really, really bad. I know guys who told me like he was like really like puking blood and it was like he was kissing death on the mouth kind of thing. And he's made a full recovery. He's back now. He's healthier. But supposedly, I took a lot of time off his body. It took a lot of energy out of his body. It was not a good time for him. But other than that, I think before that, the reason why we weren't seeing him in action is because of political reasons. Because he has a friend who's really high up, and he's not really loved by certain politicians. And I think that's what was holding him back, not necessarily him, because he wanted to fight. He was fighting regularly. At one point, I think he fought like twice in 40 days or something like that. He fought again right away at a higher weight class just so he doesn't have to cut weight. And I think when he beat Mirchart, he just took the fight. Let me look that up here, actually. He took that fight in very, very short notice, or very close to the fight itself. Let me look that up again. That was interesting, actually. Okay, let me look at that real quick. Okay, so when he fought Mirchart, that was September. Okay, no, he fought July and then September. That's a quick turnaround. Oh, here it is. No. Here it is. He fought 10 days apart. He fought John Phillips, Darkstroke round 2, on July 15th. And then July 25th, he fought Riz McGee, ground and pound, round 1. That's crazy. I've never seen that before. 2 UFC fights in 10 days. Wow. That's Khamzat Chimaev fighting 2 times in 10 days. 3 fights in just a few months. Khamzat's going to be on EPO for this fight. That's from Alex. Alex, if he is, he'll probably be the most scariest fighter on the face of the earth. But that's an allegation, sir. That's an allegation. I won't have it on this channel. Coach, thoughts on instincts, muscle memory versus technical stuff. That's from Jake Tanvir. Instincts is like, you're saying muscle memory. Do you mean like you drilled something so much that you'll do it by instinct? That's 100% must. That's why I don't like to teach guys too many new things. Like they come here like 4 weeks before their fight. Yeah, we can get you fight ready. We can help you get fight ready, but we're not going to teach you a bunch of new tricks, in 4 weeks, 6 weeks. You got to come here like on a regular basis between fights, and then we develop you. I find it really absurd. People want to learn new things, and they're 4 or 5 weeks out of their fight. That's crazy, in my opinion. That's like we can teach you a variation of something you already do, but I'm not going to start teaching you how to double leg. You've never scored a takedown in your life. You don't wrestle, and now you want to learn how to double leg in 5 weeks. Like, it doesn't work that way. Because like you said, it's not going to be instinctual. Coach, can you please explain the role that youth and athleticism play in combat sports versus skill? For instance, if skill truly trumps athleticism, then coaches would fight instead of coaches would fight instead of fighters, I think is what you mean. Yeah, look, I totally agree. It's not all about technical know-how. It's not. That's ridiculous. Everything matters. Okay, as you get older, you can lose your strength, you lose your speed, your reaction time. You lose some of your desire to fight, take punishment because, look, you've made it in life. You have a house, you have a wife, you have a kid, you have your car, you have your career, you have money coming in. You're like, oh, well, what do I have to go fight to the death in the cage for, But when you're young and you have no name and nobody knows who you are and you don't have much money and you haven't got the girl you want, and you don't have you want to fight for you have that instinct, like, I got to build my life, I got to do something. And then you get it, and you're like, well, do I want to mess up my face, my brain, my health? Your health become more health conscious. So it's 100% true. You get less desire to fight. You have less strength. You have less speed. It can be true because if you let yourself go, But some guys, very few guys, as they get older, they keep training, they keep working, they keep building. And why do they do that? They don't need to. They don't necessarily need to. Some do it because it's like a part of their psyche. Like for me, it's just part of my psyche. George is like part of his psyche. He can't for some reason stop training. And I feel like the same thing. Like I don't feel like I don't have to get on the mats. I want to get on the mats. I want to like spar. I want to move around. Now I'm not doing it as much as I'd like because I have guys getting ready for fights. So I got to kind of sacrifice my time and help them. So like I'll skip classes because I'm coaching that guy or whatnot. But I have that desire to get on the mat and have fun, because for me it is fun. That's the thing. It's like George still gets on the mat. St. Pierre still works out, man, and he pushes it. But For us, it's fun. It wasn't only about money. For sure, we made money. For sure, we did big things with fighting. But we actually love the sport. And here's the thing, like, we guys like us, where it's part of your psyche, we love learning new ways of doing things. It just like tickles our brains, it just makes us like, wow, we were doing it like this. Like so many times when we're training, me and George were like, wow, look how they do it now. We used to do it like this. Now it's done like that. Like, it's just such a, I don't know what it is. I don't know. It feels so, it's just so incredible to see the evolution and be part of it and just try to understand what's going on here. Like, how did we go from here to there? Why didn't we know this before? Of course, it was discovered during, trial and error. People figured it out, but it's just fascinating. And some people just fight because they want money. Some people fight because they want to have that. They want to make their name. They want to make their name. They want to build their legacy. They want to be known. They want to walk down the street and people yell their name and people want to take a picture with them and people, they want to have their reputation. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing as well, to build your name and to have like success. But at the heart of it all, some of us really just have a passion for it. Like, for instance, John Denahar, my trainer, he's obsessed. I think if there was no money to be made and no competitions to win, I think he would still do jiu-jitsu all the time because he's actually fascinated. And I think that's what he kind of instilled that in me quite a bit. He would always talk to me about fighting because on our time off, we'd be just talking about fighting tactics and what somebody did and how somebody figured out that or somebody's strategy. And we just talk about it all the time. It's just like I think how people talk about, other sports. We just like fascinated with this game. But I have to tell you, Mohammed, you're absolutely right. It's not true. It's all about knowledge and wisdom. It's not true. Because the knowledge and wisdom we have now is not that powerful. I shouldn't say that. It's not powerful enough to have fully negated athleticism in youth. One day, maybe we're going to be long-bearded paimes and young guys are going to come in to try to throw a kick or a punch or try to take us down. And by wiggling our little finger, we're going to throw them on their backs. We have discovered something so powerful that it's made speed, power, muscle irrelevant. Martial arts is not there. Okay, I'll tell you that. There's no master on the earth who could do it. And if there was, I would go become a student. It's not there yet. Martial arts is quickly progressing. It might never get there, of course, but it's quickly progressing. Every year, athleticism matters less and less. Every year, athleticism, speed, youth matters less and less. How did you meet Joe Rogan? Is he the reason you stream? And what are your favorite memories of Joe? That's from Tala. Well, I see him all the time at UFC shows. Okay, so when I train fighters, they go and they compete, and he's oftentimes the commentator. We've hung out a few times. Actually, one time we had breakfast together before I did his podcast, and we hit it off. He was fascinating me with all his crazy conspiracy theories. I'll tell you something. Joe Rogan is very knowledgeable. Very, very knowledgeable. He knows a lot of stuff. And he was like blowing my mind with all these crazy stuff that I'd never heard of. He was telling me, oh, yes, this. I was like, wow, I think we're talking about building like the 9/11 things. And because for me, at first, I was like, I just bought the original story. Like whatever they said, okay, it was this for this reason. These people took the plane, and I just believed it all. But then he was kind of asking me questions. Well, if that's the case, then why not this? Why not that? And of course, I did my research, and I started to realize, hey, it doesn't make sense either. Especially Building 7. I looked into that. I didn't know about that. It blew my mind. That really bothered me. It still bothers me to this day. Honestly, still bothers me to this day. Like, there's no good explanation. Not that I want to get into it, because we talked about this before on the channel. But he's a really cool guy, and I did his channel. That's not why I started this stream. I was doing this stream before the Rogan show. I started this stream because of Tom Billier, the founder of Quest Nutrition. He was like, hey, look, man, I'm a big fan of yours. He came down to Montreal. He visited me, and he said he wanted to sponsor me. He said, look, start a YouTube channel and promote my product, Quest Nutrition, and I'll help you. I'll sponsor you guys, and I'll help you guys out. So I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I'll show some moves. Maybe I'll do some videos answering questions. It's like, yeah, anything you want to do content. So I was like, okay. And I started it, and then we parted ways a few years later in an amicable way. He sold his shares, etc. So he moved on with his life, and this channel, you know, everybody was liking it, everybody was enjoying it, so I kept it going. Gilbert has knocked people out cold before. Dreykus hasn't knocked anyone out cold before. That's from Darren. I don't agree. Let's just look at the tail of the tape here. Okay, you mean knocked out cold with one shot? I'm okay, maybe. But DDP has flattened a lot of people. Okay, he has flattened a lot of people. He finished Adesanya with a choke. He finished Whitaker with punches. He stopped Derek Brunson. Brunson retired on the stool. Darren Till, rear naked choke. Brad Tavares, unanimous decision. Right cross to ground and pound. Okay, maybe he doesn't have that one punch KO, but the guy's a finisher. Look, the guy's a finisher, man. He has 39% of his fights by KO or KO, 48% of his wins by submission, and only 13% by decision. That's incredible. That's really incredible. Like, that's like 87% finishing rate. It's insane. It's incredible. No more USADA. It's practically the Wild Wild West. That's from Mikey. No. There's still a drug testing. There's still drug testing in UFC. USADA's out, but they brought in another company. Now, are they as robust or whatnot? I don't know. Are we ever going to see another McGregor? That's from Bing Surd. Well, you're seeing Ilya Taporia have a stellar rise. I would argue it's greater than McGregor's rise. I find your love for philosophy and views within your religion very interesting. Suggestion on where to informally study being a logician. We love regular videos on philosophy and exercise. That's from Holy, what is that? I'm just going to call you Holy Shanes. Thank you very much. That's really sweet of you. That's very nice to hear. Look, there's no informal place to learn logic. You want to study classics of philosophy. That's what I did. Okay, I studied mainly the Greeks, the Muslim thinkers, and then, of course, the British empiricism, okay, the European thinkers. I would highly recommend you start with René Descartes' Meditations. I think that's a very, very good book. It's a little bit complex, maybe. If that's too, if it's not your tune, start with Euthyphro by Plato. That's a very soft landing, but it's a very interesting read. And Plato has some very good works. Now, you're probably going to read it and not agree with him totally, but that's not the case. You don't have to agree with everything he says. You just have to, it's going to make you think. Okay, so that's where you would start with logic. That's the original. The original logicians the surviving works of the original logicians is the Greeks. Okay, of course, there were logicians before. The first human being was a logician. Human beings use logic, no doubt. However, the first surviving works we have is the Greeks. I do give regular philosophy content on this channel, so just ask me a philosophy question and I'll be happy to answer you. This is Mike Goodwin, my boy Mike Goodwin. Can you search for this video on your channel and tell me why GSP got bridged and rolled? And did GSP make a mistake? GSP rolls against a giant and coach shows the Barzagar takedown. Skip to minute 13. Okay, let me look that up. Hold on a second here. I'm going to put it on screen, friends. Let me put it on screen. Hold on a second here. I'm just going to do some button pushing. Uh-oh. I have a new way now of putting stuff on screen. It's my first time doing it, so... All right, let's see here. What was the title of that video you said, Mr. Mike? Skip to minute 13, but okay. Can you please explain the role of youth? Oh, no. It's not the question. Ugh. Okay. All right, guys. Slow down with the super chats, please. Everybody, slow down with the super chats. Too many super chats. I'm going to... GSP rolls against a giant... And okay, GSP rolls against a giant. Okay, let's see here. GSP rolls against a giant. GSP rolls against a giant. Oh, that's me on the cover. Skip to minute 13. Okay, here we go. This is a TriStar gym. Okay, great. All right, guys, watch this. I'm going to razzle dazzle you here with my button pushing skills. Watch this. Ta-da. Huh? Are you guys impressed? Huh? I'm in the future now, my friends. I have now entered the future. Okay, so let's watch this. Okay, here GSP is rolling. There's supposed to be sound. I don't know why there's no sound. Okay, so why does he get bridged off? Is that what you asked me? Oh yeah, I know. I know he's finding. I know this student of mine. He's a big guy on the bottom, much bigger. Okay, let's see. George is moving into mount. All right, here we go. Okay, guys, he's in 3/4 mount. It's not fully mounted yet. Let's see what happens here. Oh, there it is. He goes. There he goes. There he goes. Let me see if I can rewind it. All right, look at that. With stroke of one button I push and rewind it. Okay, let's play it. Okay, let's see. Okay, guys, you could see now that George's left arm is wrapped around the so-called giant's head. Okay, so he's weak on that side. He should be shifting to his right. So George is wrapping with his left. He should be shifting to his right so that he cannot get swept over his left. You could see now that George is too much in the middle. His spine is aligned with his opponent. This is a big mistake. Okay, I cover this in my Mount Made Easy. I have a video about Mount. And I cover this. Whenever you wrap somebody's head up, you should shift your weight in the opposite direction so you don't get thrown over like this, okay? Now his partner traps the arm. You can see the man on the bottom uses his right arm to trap George's left arm and bridges him over. And you can see in the background, that's me, okay? You have a shot of my gluteus maximus in the background. Okay, he bridges over, and yeah, he's fighting a really big guy. I know this guy's really good jiu-jitsu too, big guy, and he gets bridged over. Why? Because he didn't shift his weight in the opposite direction of the wrap. This is really, really important. So that's a big problem. Let's see what else happens here. Well, George does a nice sumigeshi here. Doesn't get the sweep. Big man's back on top. Toriando combo pass. Pressure pass. There's a problem here. It's going to be a problem. I would go octopus here. Oh, Kimura. George loves that Kimura. That's me in the background on the left. Uh-oh. Got passed here. Big man on top. So that's why I don't like Kimura, guys. I don't like to do Kimura from the bottom like that. I have a Kimura video where I teach the top position and I teach the bottom position. I always warn the bottom position. I have to be very careful when I do Kimura from the bottom. Okay, the giant's taking the back here. It's a bit of a problem. He's got the truck. Oh, there's George turning the tables. There we go. All right, guys. Now, why did he get bridged? I'm going to pause this now. I just want to show off my button pushing skills. I think I do deserve a purple belt now on button pushing. I don't want to brag here. I don't want to get too cocky. I know the button pushers out there are like, oh, he's increasing his button pushing skill. We might have to hack him now and shut off his computer. I'm getting too powerful. I'm getting too arrogant, maybe. All right, guys. The reason why he got bridged over is because he wrapped up the neck and didn't shift his weight in the opposite direction. So I talk about misaligning yourself. Okay, you don't want to be perfectly aligned because your center of gravity is in the center. He could shift you off to the bad side, the side where your arm is trapped, and roll you over. It's a classic maneuver. Okay, it's called a bridge and roll. Disagree. Ilya doesn't have the McGregor aura. It felt different in 2015/16. UFC feels kind of dead these days. That's from Bink. Bink, I don't agree. Not for me anyways, okay? McGregor was great at promoting the fights. He had a charisma. He had, funny lines. He made fun of people. He was an antagonizer. He was in and out of the octagon. He was very, and he still is, very, provocative. Maybe that's why you felt it. But us hardcore fans, we love the fights, man. And Ilya is undoubtedly the greatest featherweight of all time. Best ever. I can't even think, who else? McGregor, no. McGregor never defended the featherweight title. And Ilya knocked out in the same year the two other great, at that time, greatest featherweights of all time. It's just incredible. Okay, so I don't think you can... Look, McGregor did incredible things. No doubt about it. He was the first double champ. He had an incredible run. But my opinion, if you ask me, I think Ilya Taporia's run was more successful. Why are you wearing a rash guard at home? Because I love this Khabib rash guard and I want to show it off. I want to show it to you guys. Salam, coach. Can you make an instructional vid on leg locks for MMA? Love your Rashi, coach. May Allah look after you and your family, coach. Amin. Jazakallahu khair, my brother. Yes, one day I will make a leg lock video for MMA because I approach it differently, slightly differently. But I don't want to get into that too much because I got so much other content to make. But Jazakallahu khair, my friend. I will definitely look to do that in the future. Also interested in rhetoric, Edmund Burke. Look, rhetoric in philosophy usually refer to that as the sophist, okay? The guys who just talk in circles and they think that everything is right and everything is wrong equally and there's no real truth, so you kind of make up your truth. You just kind of like gab, and you just try to convince people. We call those the sophists, okay? Logicians like me, I'm a rationalist. I'm among the rationalists. We despise the sophists, okay? So when you listen to Jordan Peterson, that's what you get. The guy's talking one way, then he's talking another, and he keeps contradicting himself, and he keeps reasoning why he's got... His words almost have no meaning. It's like you ask him, they ask him one time, do you believe in God? Well, that depends. What do you mean by believe? What do you mean by God? What do you mean? He just starts circling around absurdity. It's almost too much, even for philosophers like me. We pose the question on everything. Because the thing is, it's like... When you have a discussion, you have to have some good faith. You have to have some good faith. For sure, I can disprove everything that you try to prove to me if I don't want to believe it. Like we're seeing it today, in the media. In the West, they're like, there's no famine in Gaza. There's no famine in Gaza. There's not one person being killed illegally. There's not one war crime. You look at Western media, there's nothing evil and nefarious going on in Gaza. No, guys. All the starving kids, that's all fake. That's all propaganda. It's not true. Then you go to Israeli media and they're like, you hear politicians are saying, kill them all, starve them. There are no innocents in Gaza. Oh, we want to turn it into a parking lot. We want to nuke it. We want it even Netanyahu himself, the prime minister, the most powerful man in Israel. He said, they're Amalek. Don't forget what Amalek has done to you. Now, even if you say it's Hamas and not the Palestinians, if you're not familiar with Amalek says, the verses of Amalek is saying, destroy Amalek, even their children, their farm animals, leave not a trace of them on the face of the earth. It's a call for genocide in the Old Testament. It's a call for genocide. Those people, if they're Amalek, that means you not only got to wipe out the fighting men, you got to wipe out the women, the children, and their livestock. Why the livestock? I have no idea. But you got to erase them. They have to have never existed. Leave no trace. It's pretty, can't be more violent than this. So even if you were to call Hamas Amalek, you're indirectly saying, look, take out the children. Now, I'm telling you, there are politicians, ministers in Israel right now that are saying that it's okay to kill even the children. Like Ben Gvir is saying, not a grain of rice should enter Gaza. Not one grain. We're going to block it. We're not going to allow it. And then you have the Western media saying, no, there's no famine, guys. What are you talking about? Now they've changed their tune. Now more and more of them are starting to break because the news is just, it's undeniable. Now, here's the thing, okay? In philosophy or in anything, okay? If you have one person saying the sky is blue and one person saying the sky is purple, and they're arguing, and you're the one in the middle, and you're like, well, I don't know who to believe. What do? Well, you get somebody, a third party who has no interest in lying, or a group, a third party. When I say third party, it could also be a group of experts in colors and the sky, and you get a subject matter expert, and then you ask them who's telling the truth and why. Okay, you get a third party to arbitrate between the two. Now, international media is the third party today. Okay, so who's the third party? Usually, it's the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations. Okay, UN, Amnesty International, all these international groups. So basically, the world comes together, creates a group to benefit the world. And these guys are supposed to be impartial. And if you're not happy with that, send in international media. Now, Israel blocks NGO groups, so Amnesty International, UN, and they block international media. Why? They don't want a third party. Why? Because it would show their lies. They're trying to say there's no famine in Gaza. So on one day they say there's no famine. The other day they're reported as saying not a single grain of rice. Because here's the thing. When they talk to their own population, they're like, kill them all, starve them all, stomp on them. When they talk to the world, like Netanyahu went on the Nelk boys. He's like, don't get me started on the Nelk boys, the two biggest idiots on the internet, the two biggest clowns and imbeciles on the internet. But that's another story for another day. He's like, no, we're trying to get the food to the people. This is Netanyahu. We're trying to get food to the people. But Hamas keeps taking it. They keep taking it. Then they steal it and they sell it back to the people at a very high price. So that's why we had to stop putting in food. Okay, let's break that down. If you don't want Hamas to, let's say it's true for a second. Let's say Hamas is stealing the food and giving it back to the people, even though it's not true, even though the UN and every single third party says it's not true. There's no evidence that Hamas is stealing large quantities of food. Okay, it's maybe a very small amount that Hamas gets their hands on. Very small amount. Like an insignificant amount. Still, the solution would be to flood Gaza with food so that it's not worth for Hamas. If Hamas steals rice, everybody's got rice. We don't want to buy your rice. You can't mark it up. It's illegal in international law to starve your opponent. Even if you're at war with somebody, you cannot starve the other side. Now, they're not only starving Hamas, they're starving the general population because they're saying that'll make money for Hamas. So we can't. That's absurd. If you don't want Hamas to have the ability to sell food and generate funds, you would flood Gaza with food. That way everybody has food. Why would I have to go buy food from Hamas? Why? It's when food is scarce. When food is scarce, the price goes up. So you just made Hamas richer. If Hamas is the only one with food to sell, a can of soup just went up. It's $500 for a can of soup. But here's where you know which side is lying. It's the side that doesn't allow international media in. It's the side that doesn't allow third parties in. It's the side that doesn't want the evidence to come to light. Because if international media was in, they would show you the horrors of what we're seeing every day, but times probably 1,000. Because there's so many stories, horror stories happening that are going untold. Like, for instance, Israel attacked an ambulance convoy and then buried it. They killed everybody. They killed all the ambulance. They killed everybody in the ambulances, the aid workers. Then they brought machines, bulldozers, to dig a hole and throw and hide the evidence. And then, of course, people were wondering, where are those ambulances? Where are those people? Where are those aid workers? They went, they dug them up, they found them, and they found footage in people's phones filming the incident. Like the Israelis didn't think, hey, let's take their phones and erase it. Anyways, it could have ended up in a cloud. Who knows? But long story short, that evidence came to light. Now, how many other things happened that never came to light? Well, they don't allow international media. If Hamas has so much to hide, why are they like, hey, let everybody know. Come on in. International media, welcome. Let the people know what's going on. So here's the thing, I'm not a fan of Hamas, but I'm definitely also not a fan of the Israeli government. Okay, now don't forget, the Israeli government, for those of you who don't know, it's very well understood, it's very well accepted that it's the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, who orchestrated the rise of Hamas. He helped Hamas get to power. He wanted Hamas to get to power. He funded them to get to power. Why? It's quite a bit of a long story, but basically he wants the most extremist group to overtake Gaza. Why? Because he doesn't want anybody to ever have peace. He wants a fight to the death because he thinks, well, we're going to beat them because we're so much militarily superior. But if the other side wants peace and then you crush them, you're going to look like the bad guy. So he needs the other side to be really, really adamant about fighting. And you could say, look, you could tell the world, look, I'd love peace, but these guys want to fight to the death. So I guess that's what we're going to have to do. And guess what? We're the bigger gun. We're the stronger party. So we're going to win. That's what he wanted. He famously said, we can control how high the flame goes. Yeah, they're a nuisance, but we control them. And then one day we're going to push them out. We're going to have a reason to kick them out and kill them all. Unfortunately, Hamas is stupid enough to fall for their trap. You know, Hamas should have been way more lenient. Anyways, I don't want to talk about Hamas because I'm not a fan, okay? But long story short, we need international media. And don't say, oh, it's too dangerous for international media. International media has to decide for themselves whether they want to take that risk or not. And let me tell you something. Nobody has killed more reporters than Israel. It's not Hamas killing the reporters. It's not. There are some reporters in Gaza. There were some. They're getting killed by one side and one side only. And now, not only is Israel not allowing reporters to go in, they're not allowing baby formula to go in, and now they're stopping doctors who want to travel to Gaza to help the suffering people are now being blocked by Israel. This is truly insane. This is truly depraved, insane, and sadistic. Now, Hamas is also no prize pony, but they don't have much power. That's the thing. Here's what I want you guys to think. When was the last time somebody from Hamas killed anybody from Israel? Like a citizen. They couldn't do it if they wanted to, is what I'm trying to say. If Hamas said, okay, tomorrow we're going to go hit Israel real hard, they wouldn't be able to. There's no immediate danger that Israel has to go now and go and bomb everybody, ransack everybody. And now, for those of you who didn't see in the news, Jordan passed over Gaza, took pictures because they were dropping aid, and Israel strictly told every country who drops aid over Gaza, don't take pictures and post them online. And of course the countries did, and it's complete wasteland. Don't talk about targeted strikes. Don't talk about just attacking Hamas headquarters, because it can't be that all of Gaza is a Hamas headquarters. Like, it's just absurd. Their lies are so despicable, because every time we have a third-party source, it always shows that Israel is lying. Like, it always shows that Israel is lying. They're being deceitful. They're being evil. They're being murderous. They're being genocidal. Even Jewish genocide historians are saying that this is a genocide. There is a consensus among scholars that this is a genocide. So all you guys on your armchairs saying it's not a genocide, man, honestly, you might as well drink the Kool-Aid. It's that bad, man. It's unbelievable how I was watching the movie Don't Look Up, and I was like, man, this is what's happening today. In Western media, they're trying to whitewash everything Israel does. Oh no, there's no this, there's no that, there's no famine, there's no evil, there's no innocent children being killed. Meanwhile, you have countless doctors coming back from Gaza saying, oh, I see children with bullets in their head every single day. Every single day we see bullets in the heart or bullets in the head. Every single day on children. There's a famous case of a kid who got some flour. He kissed the hand of the guy who gave it to him, a Westerner. Thank you very much. I was just walking out. He got shot by IDF soldier. The IDF soldier now was talking about it. He's like, I can't believe it. This kid was just an innocent kid walking around with a bag of flour, and they assassinated him. Despicable. Love from India. That's Bonstein. Thank you, brother. Jazakallah khair. I appreciate that. All right, guys. It is 12:30 now. Let's end it on something a little bit more light and positive, and I'm going to wrap it up. So we're going to do a few more minutes here, but let's end it on something positive and light. Guys, don't forget to use promo code SUMMER50 off. Get 50% off absolutely anything on jujiclub.com. Make sure to pick up Strong and Stable Knees, Strong and Stable Running. Don't forget, I also released a professional shadowboxing, one of the best sellers on jujiclub.com. It's really well reviewed. Everybody loved it, so make sure to check that out as well. If the knee feels unstable, should I proceed with the strong and stable knees program? No, that's from Ricardo. Ricardo, I'm going to tell you, don't do anything if your knee feels unstable. If you're walking and your knee's shifting around, do not do any exercise at all. Okay? Go get an MRI and ask your doctor, because you have to find out what is wrong with your knee exactly. Okay? Because if you do an exercise and your knee's shifting around, you can now put stress on the other tendons. Okay? Strong and stable knees is to prevent your knee from getting injured, or you had an injury and now you're past the acute phase where it's very painful and shifting around, and now you want to rehabilitate your knees. Okay, but I will tell you, ultimately, you had knee pain in the past and now it's not so bad. Okay, that's when you work strong and stable knees. And personally, I will tell you, if your knees feel good, get strong and stable knees and never let them get injured. Okay, but you don't want to do it in an acute phase where you have a lot of pain or your knee's shifting around. Okay, like if you hurt your knee 2 days ago and you're swollen, that's not the time to start doing exercise. Coach, did you get my email regarding my philosophy book? That's from Kareem. Kareem, one of my employees talked to me about it. I was like, yes, give it to me. I'm going to write him a note right now. Let's see if I can write it to him from my computer. Mike. Will he pop up? No. Let's see here. Nope. I'm going to have to do it from my phone. Oh, and my phone's not here. My man, I'm going to ask him about it tomorrow, but please do remind him. Send him an email, tell him to get me that book. I asked for it. Guys, don't forget, we have the TriStar Gym dorms. I was asked to remind everybody about the TriStar Gym dorms. Check out the link in the description or the email in the description if you guys want to train at the TriStar Gym dorms and do your next training camp at TriStar Gym. This one is from Shiz. Coach, if my brother Khamzat keeps this winning streak and he's undefeated record, will he surpass the GOAT Khabib? Smash everyone. Anyone bring it. In Mike Tyson, in Muhammad Ali. I can get enough of Khamzat. Too talented. That's from Shiz, guys. Shiz is pumped up. But Shiz, what happens if, God forbid, he loses the fight? What happens then, Shiz? It's a possibility. Now, I'm picking him, man, but I'm not saying he's going to walk over DDP. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a tough challenge. I'm really excited about this fight, though. I'm 185 pounds, 6 foot. My friend, 300 pounds and 6 foot. And 6'8". He's a wrestler and he boxes. Do I stand a chance? That's from Talal. Unless you're incredibly more trained than him, it's going to be a tough one for you. It's going to be a tough one. Because that's a lot of weight. Yeah, it's going to be tough, man. Unless there's a discrepancy in skill. Who elected Hamas? That's from Ratchet Boy. Well, Ratchet Boy, that's a good question, okay? Look, I'm not trying to say that the Palestinians didn't elect Hamas. But here's the thing. When you campaign, you need a lot of money, okay? So when you have, the more money you have, the more you can propagate. The more you propagate, the more you can promise people things, the more you can get votes. But you have to remember something. There hasn't been an election in like almost 20 years. So the people who were too young to vote for Hamas and the people who weren't born when Hamas was elected. Okay? And you have to also look at the context. The people at that time were under the rule of the Israelis for 50 years. They were pushed out of their homes. They want to go back home. Okay, so you guys have to look up something called Resolution 194. Okay, Resolution 194 is, the international community came together and said, look, the Palestinians were displaced illegally and their homes were taken by the Israeli state. They have the right to return. These are international courts. They're saying, look, these people were robbed of their rightful territory, their rightful home. They have a right to return or reparations. So, of course, if you rob people, kick them out of their homes, massacre them, don't forget there's the Deir Yassin massacre. A lot of people living in Gaza were pushed out of their homes. They try to argue, oh, they left voluntarily. Yeah, they left because it was a war zone. You turn their home into a war zone. But even if you leave your house for a war zone, you have the right to go back. So let's say tomorrow there's a war that breaks out and I leave. I get on a plane and change country. And the war is over 2 years later. I have the right to come back to this house. This is my house. Nobody could take it. Nobody can claim it off me. A lot of people are not aware of the Geneva Conventions. Okay, after World War II, we all said, the world came together and said, and this is in a nutshell. I know it's more detailed than this because the Geneva Conventions actually started a little bit before World War II. But let's just say it was solidified in World War II. Keep it simple. The Geneva Convention said, look, mankind went crazy during World War II. Let's never do these things. Let's make a list of things we did that we regret, and let's never do them again. Let's put it on paper. And one thing was no more collective punishment. If two governments are fighting, don't hurt the people. The people have nothing to do with it, even if they elected that government. Think about it for a second, okay? Think about this, okay? On October 7th, some of the Hamas militants were killing civilians. And their rationale was, well, they voted for that government that oppresses me. So we can all use that logic now. Like the people who bombed 9/11, they said, oh, those people deserve to die, the civilians, because they elected that government. And believe me, Muslims like me, we say, no, that's not allowed. In Islam, that's strictly forbidden. Strictly forbidden. In international law, that's strictly forbidden. In Christian law and Jewish law, it's forbidden. Okay, there's some people who argue otherwise in Jewish law, but let's not go there right now. Okay, generally speaking, the well-balanced rabbi will tell you, no, you're not supposed to kill. That's one of the 10 commandments. Okay, it's 10 commandments. Thou shalt not murder is on the top 10. Okay, that's why they have the 10 commandments. These are 10 most important commandments. But that's a debate for another day. What I'm trying to tell you is, they said no more collective punishment. We did that in World War II. Let's not do that again. If we fight again, let's just hit military targets. Let's get on the battlefield and duke it out. But don't blow up homes and don't displace people out of their homes. Okay, no more collective punishment. What's Israel been doing since 1948? Collective punishment. Oh, you guys voted for a government that fought us. Yes, that would be true of every single war. So that means that Russia now has to kill all the Ukrainians because the Ukrainians voted for the Ukrainian government who wanted to side with NATO. Like, you could use that rationale on everybody. That means every civilian is a target. That's insane. That's insane. You're basically justifying Hamas's actions. If you say, look, I'm allowed to kill you because of what happened on October 7th, then why isn't Hamas allowed to kill on October 7th by your same logic because you attacked them in the past? And you could be like, well, that was the government did that. I didn't do that. I mean, yeah, but you voted for that government. You pay taxes to that government. I'm telling you, it's a bad argument for both sides. If a government does something nefarious, did he tell the people, hey, I'm going to go do these nefarious things, therefore vote for me? No government does that. Okay, how about this? Netanyahu called the Gazans Amalek. Does that mean now I should go and, God forbid, but should now every Israeli citizen be a target now? They're legitimate targets, even the children. It's insane to say things like that. It's insane. People like the president of, don't forget, Israel has a president and a prime minister. The president, I can't believe the president of Israel is such an ignorant man. He said there are no innocent civilians. Even some of them, some of the most disgusting, deprived human beings on the face of the earth or in the Israeli government, they're saying there are no innocents. Even the children are not innocent. So this child was born in this world and the adults are fighting and he's not innocent. They're saying, yeah, even one rabbi went on Israeli TV and he's like, even all the children should be killed. Don't have any mercy. Why? Because they're going to grow up to want to hate you. They're going to grow up to want to kill you. Okay, so why don't you just slap a swastika on your flag? Why don't you just go all the way? You're just basically now a Nazi. That's Nazi rationale. Eliminate the other side. The final solution, exterminate the entire race. You just admit, you just called for genocide. You just called for extermination. This is a ridiculous, absurd way of thinking. It's disgusting. It's inhumane. It's absolutely toilet level thinking. And anybody who says things like that in the future, your children's children will be humiliated. They'll be embarrassed of you. Think about like Hitler's family. You know Hitler's family? Hitler has family in the USA right now. They live under anonymous conditions. They don't want to be known as Hitler's descendants, but he does have descendants. They live in the east of America. Their identities have been hidden. Their names have been changed, and they have the DNA of Adolf Hitler. They don't want to be known. Why? They're humiliated by their forefathers. They're humiliated by the Germans. They're disgraced by them. They don't want to be associated with them whatsoever. And who would want to be? I don't blame them. But all I'm trying to say is all this madness talk of killing people who have nothing to do with violence, collective punishment is disgusting. Because I'll tell you one thing, okay? It boils down to this. If you're saying that any actions that are going on in Gaza today is justified by October 7th, then you just ipso facto justified October 7th. Why? Because Hamas didn't wake up on October 6th and said, you know what, I have an itch for killing. Let's go on a kill spree. No. Their whole thing is like, oh, our land has been taken, we've been bombed, we've been displaced, they're killing, they're massacring us on a regular basis. Let's go fight back. Let's go get our land. They don't want to give back our homes. We're going to go take them. Okay, fine. Fight the government, but don't fight civilians. That's international law. That's Islamic law. Oh, no, you know what? They're all combatants anyway. They all did time in the IDF. They're at least more... I don't agree with that, by the way, but they're saying, look, every adult has to do 2 years in the IDF or whatever it is. So they're soldiers. They're on reserve soldiers, so we can shoot them. We can kill them. They're part of the oppression. I wouldn't agree with that. Okay, I would say take out military targets, military bases, fight people in military uniforms. You can take POWs, adult males. I would say yes, not children, old women, old men. That's ridiculous. That was such a bad strategy. But they did it. And Israel's strategy is even worse because Israel has the technology and the backing to bully their neighbors. And that's why they act like King Joffrey. I always think like Israel to me is like King Joffrey. Too much power, too much ego, too much arrogance. And they think that the shoe's never going to be on the other foot. They think the tables won't turn. I'll tell you guys, it's only a matter of time. Every empire ends up falling. Every one of them. And when this one falls, people will never forget the atrocities because it's the first ever genocide caught on social media. It's the first one ever. Hopefully it's the last. But I'm telling you, this has made Israel less safe than ever. Ever. It's the worst. And it's all because of Netanyahu. I blame everything on Netanyahu. I think Netanyahu put together the most far-right group he can find because that's the only way he could stay in power. And he's prolonging this war because he has too many pending cases against him. Like if this war were to end tomorrow, he'd go to jail. He'd go to jail. Not only for corruption charges or whatnot, but for his ties to Hamas and failing to protect Israel on October 7th. There's too much to talk about. I have no swollenness and I haven't injured the knee. Just feels a bit unstable at times when I step or base on it. Thanks. That's from Ricardo. Ricardo, go get an MRI. You need an MRI. If it's not swollen anymore and you're walking around and it's still feeling loose, there's a broken tendon there somewhere. Okay, so please do get an MRI. Or go see a physiotherapist. He can give you the McMurray test and he can give you an assessment. If you can't get to an MRI, get a McMurray test. They take your knee, they bend it in ways, and then they check your good knee and they bend it in ways and they see if there's a difference between the two. It's a very reliable test and he can give you more information. Okay, and from there you can decide whether your knee is stable enough to continue training. Okay, and doing strong and stable knees. But do not do strong and stable knees if you feel your knee is unstable. Okay, go see a physiotherapist and get a McMurray test or get an MRI test if you can get your hands on an MRI test. Coach, you missed my super chat. Okay, guys, Mike Goodwin's super chat. Let me find that one. No, it won't let me go up any further, Mr. Mike. I apologize, but I went back as far as I can. You guys got to fire off those super chats when I'm not rambling. If I'm on a topic, guys, you know me. You got to wait. You got to be patient. Coach, why were the European Jews placed in Palestine? That's from Larry Bird. Well, that's a long story, right? Because they have a connection to that land. And guys, don't forget, Muslims, we brought the Jews to the Holy Land. Don't forget. Don't ever forget your history. When the Jews were exiled from the Holy Land in the year 70, it was only when the Muslims conquered Jerusalem from the Romans were the Jews allowed to return. Every time Islam spread, the Jews also spread. We always took them along with us. This is a very new phenomenon that the Jews and the Europeans are getting along against us. It was always the Muslims and Europeans fighting and the Jews running to Muslim countries to protect themselves under the umbrella of Islam. It was always the case. If you don't believe me, look at Jewish professor David Wasserstein. He wrote a great piece called When Islam Saved Jewry. Look it up, David Wasserstein. Read his piece. Okay, it's a brilliant piece. He talks about how without Islam, the spread of Islam, Jewry would have never existed. It would have died off. It would have become a cult, a very minor cult. Okay? It's very, very important to remember how much Islam has done for Jewish people. Now, we didn't always have good times, but we had, by and large, very good times. Okay, there were some bad moments, but by and large, it was safe to live in Muslim countries, especially for that time where people were hostile, much more hostile towards one another. Don't forget, the Muslims always brought back the Jews to Jerusalem. We believe they're supposed to be there. It's in the Quran. It's Umar bin Khattab, radiallahu anhu. He didn't do this by mistake. He came to Jerusalem. He conquered Jerusalem, and when the Christians of Jerusalem said, there are no Jews here, they were expelled, he insisted that they colonize, they bring back some Jewish families. They bring them back and let them spread and live in the Holy Land. This was a good thing. Now, the problem with us is not that they came to the Holy Land. That's not the problem. It's that they pushed us out and they want to take control of the Holy Land and they want to rule over us while we rule. Okay? They kick people out of their private homes. That's the issue. It's not a question of them being in the Holy Land. They always lived among us, always. The question is now they want to side with Europe to come here and delegate on us, change our way of life. Because don't forget, the Jewish way of life and the Muslim way of life is very similar. Now they want to come with LGBT. They want to come with all this crazy stuff that they bring. Oh, you could drink, you could smoke, you can dress naked on the internet, you could do all these things. They want to bring Western civilization in the Holy Land. But that's a betrayal to Judaism. Guys, who is the where is the first book to say homosexuality is a sin? Which is the first book? Which one? Judaism. Now the Jewish rabbis are saying, oh, no, bring the Westerners to back us up and we'll put this to the side. We'll live their way. It's a betrayal of Judaism. It's a betrayal to our way of life. Now you have to bend the knee. You have to have your parades. You have to have this and that. Well, that's their way of life. We want our way of life. We want our way of life. They have their way of life. We have our way of life. Now we say don't impose our way of life on them. When we go to their country, we see they have this and they have that, and that's their business, not our business. We have the right here to have our own personal choice. Okay, great, we'll come. But now it's a betrayal of Judaism. Guys, I'll tell you something. I hear Yair Netanyahu, the son of Benjamin Netanyahu, saying, oh, Joe Rogan's anti-Semitic because he won't have Benjamin Netanyahu on. Guys, I don't consider you really like real Jews, like no offense, but I'm more Jewish than Yair Netanyahu and Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm more Jewish than them. I follow the religion more than them. They're walking around saying, oh, look at these Arab countries. You can't have democracy and you cannot have alphabet rights. It's like, dude, first of all, you're Jewish. What are you talking about, man? You're supposed to be a kingdom. By the way, Arab countries did have democracy to a certain extent. And it was derailed, for instance, Iran had a democracy. And it was derailed by the U.S. and the British forces, the MI6. Look it up, okay? Iran used to have a democracy. Who destroyed Iran's democracy? Who was it? What's the big secret? It's not a big secret. It's very well known. America went and created a coup. They actually destroyed Iranian democracy, which is ironic because they're always talking about democracy. Well, okay, now in the Middle East, who's bringing these ideas from the West that are opposite to the Bible? The new regime. Well, that regime is claiming to be Jewish. Well, you're bringing a non-Jewish regime here. You're bringing non-Jewish ideas. You're taking Jewish ideas and you're putting them by the wayside because the founders of Israel were secularists, right? They were secularists, they're atheists. So how are they Jewish? Oh, well, they say we're Jewish by heritage, by culture. Well, you know what? I find I'm more Jewish than you because if you ask Moses, who's more Jewish? Me, the guy who keeps halal, doesn't, I circumcise, I don't do the alphabet, I follow the commandments. And you're going to compare yourself to me? Well, I don't believe in Moses. Yeah, but that's the whole point. The whole movement, the whole Jewish movement is about Moses. The whole Jewish movement is about Abraham, Moses, Isaac. Like, we follow ourselves back to that land and we respect that tradition. You guys are throwing it by the wayside where we use the label. Well, you're not really as you're not as Jewish as us. Muslims and Jews, we don't see that as Jewish. We don't see that as Jewish. Now, I know you have your own opinions, and that's fine. But I'm telling you, from our perspective, if you say you're atheist to us, you're not really Jewish. That's not really Jewish. You're Jewish by label. You want the cultural Jewish. It's like Dawkins, he says, I'm culturally Christian. Okay, he's not Christian. To me, I don't consider that Christian. Okay, he can be culturally Christian, but that's like, it's like, imagine I said, oh, well, I believe in equality only culturally, meaning in my heart of hearts, I think some races are better than others, but culturally, because I want to get along with everybody and I like the prestige of it. I'm going to call myself, I'm not racist. Like, you'd be like, oh, wow, that's disgusting. That guy deep down inside of him, he's a racist. It's not what I'm trying to say here, is that, oh, I'm just the facade of this thing you believe in. I'm just the facade of this movement. Well, you're just a facade. It's a very shallow commitment. So how could you say that you're more Jewish than us? We're far more Jewish. We believe in all the Jewish prophets, all of them. So, I mean, it's just like, so fake, it's so fake. Oh, you hate us because we're Jewish. Dude, you're not Jewish. I don't even consider, I consider you as secularist. I consider you a secularist foreigner. The real Jews, okay, are the ones who believe in the Torah, they believe in sin, they believe in God, I can't believe somebody could say, oh, I'm a Jew, but I don't believe in God. It's like, okay, well, that's the whole point of Judaism. That's the whole point. What's the first commandment? It's all about God. So for me, these are not, in my opinion, I understand everybody has their opinions, but I don't consider them to be Jewish, to be honest with you. I just consider them to be fake Jewish people. And there are a lot of very honest, loving, and traditional believing Jews. Okay, so I don't want to lump them all. Of course not. I'm just telling you, a lot of these guys are out for their politics. And I'll say the same thing about Hamas. I don't agree that these guys put our religion first. That's not true. They're more about power and using religion for power, and they're using religion the wrong way. And they're giving religion a very bad name. That's the number one thing you don't want to do, is give religion a bad name. Now you talk about religion in the West, everybody's like, oh yeah, those are the people always causing trouble. And they're right, because there's a lot of people who are causing trouble and using religion to do it. We just have to be not stupid enough to fall for it. I don't let people use religion to manipulate me. Okay, so I have my religion. I believe in my religion. But I don't let some extremist guy, some guy with a political agenda, try to use my religion to get me to agree with him. I don't like this. I don't like to play with this at all. I don't think God wants you to kill babies and burn people and kill people and bomb people. And I say this to both sides, okay? Not one side or the other. Both have done atrocities. Both governments have to go. Both are too extremist, okay? So I want to be fair here. And that's the whole thing. If somebody believes in God, he's got to be fair. How could you say, oh, I believe in God, but then you're the biggest cheat, you're the biggest liar, you're the biggest scammer? It's pathetic. It's really pathetic. So, like, long story short, I just don't think a lot of these people are really deep down inside really what they say they are. They just give up the facade. And you got to be smart enough to see through that. How much money does a young man need to get married? That's from Talal. A lot. Guys, I've been trying to end this podcast now, but let's end it on something light and easy. Coach, do you know Fluffy Hernandez? Of course I know Fluffy Hernandez. I've talked to him a little bit also. I was there when he fought in the main event. I'm forgetting against who, but the crazy guy who does all the flips. I'm forgetting his name now. He was almost killed him in the octagon. And we were there also for another fight, and I got to hang out with him a little bit afterwards. I was just watching one of his fights the other day. Actually, yesterday. He's a very tough guy. Who's looking forward to the press conference? I respect your expectations of Khamzat. No gangster mentality, respectful. Followers, imagine if DDP annoys Khamzat. Oh, damn. Pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen. Uncrowned 170-pound champ. That's from Shiz. Shiz, don't forget this is a middleweight fight. No, I know you know that. You're trying to say he's the uncrowned 170-pound champ. I don't think so. He missed weight. He never won the title at that weight. You can't say he's the champ at 170. You cannot say he's the champ at 170. Right now, it is JDM. Coach, you should reach out to Chimaev after this fight and work with him. He'd be unstoppable. That's from MX. MX, If me and him ever got together, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Guys, I give an open invitation to Chimaev to come and train with me. I don't think anybody could stop us if me and Chimaev were working together. He's the master of brutality and I'm the master of efficiency. I don't think anybody could stop us. Coach, do you believe in evolution? That's from Varen Jits. I believe in some aspects of evolution, but I have a very profound view of evolution. Would be too quick, I don't have enough time to get into it. But look, here's the thing, okay, about evolution. If you read the Quran, okay, if you read the Quran, and I don't want to get too much into this because it's a very deep topic. It says God created Adam in a certain way. And then it says God sent Adam down after he fell from sin, after he disobeyed God. God sends him down. What does it mean he sent him down? So I don't think Adam was created on earth. Now, there's a difference of opinion in Islam. Some Muslims believe that he was created in another world. Some people believe he was created on earth. I believe Adam is alien to this world. I think we are from another place. Okay, that's how I see the world. I see that human beings are not like the animal kingdom. Yes, the animal kingdom evolved. A human being is part of the animal kingdom in some way, but we're also estranged. We're also from a far off place, from another dimension, call it a dimension, call it what you want. But we're obviously different than the animal kingdom. Now, did we rise from the animal kingdom? It could also be by saying he was sent down. Maybe he was how does God send somebody down? I don't know. Maybe he turns him into a single cell and then he lets him in a primordial soup and he's reborn in this sense. I don't know how God does things. And I think people imagine things in their head and then they superimpose it on the Quran. Okay, so it's a complex topic. I have many possibilities how you can put evolution and Islam together and have a cohesive understanding. Okay, and I also believe in miracles. Like everybody who believes in God believes in miracles. So it could also be exceptionalism. Evolution is true, but Adam was an exception. Adam was put on this earth in a certain way, and he was placed on this earth via miracle. That I could also accept. Why? Because I believe in God, so it could be miraculous. Now, there's other nuances in the Quran where it's when Adam is being created, it insinuates there are other Adam-like type creatures. It's insinuated in the Quran, so it could explain a lot of what we see. So I have nuanced views, but I will tell you something. The Quran says it best. It says, look, it tells mankind, you are not a witness of your creation, meaning you don't know how you came to be. You don't know that part. That's vague to you. So we're going to speculate. But here's the thing. In the classic golden age of Islam, they didn't worry about these things. Yes, they discussed evolution. They didn't have evolution back then, but they had something similar. They had survival of the fittest. They had natural selection. Okay, so not evolution per se, but natural selection. There's a nuance there. Kitab al-Hayawanat, the book of animals, describes how animals change in characteristics because of their environment. It's in Kitab al-Hayawanat, one of the fathers of natural selection. Al-Jahiz was a scholar, and he wrote about biology, and he said, look, animals over time with certain characteristics have an advantage and they move forward on the chain. That's why people don't know this, but when Darwin came out with this theory of evolution, some of his critics were saying, look, you're just copying the Muhammadans, because the Muslims were saying that. It's a long story, but I'm telling you, we can talk about this topic for a very long time. There are many, many nuances. But to reject evolution out cold just because you think God made man in a certain way, that's really how you interpret things. It's not necessarily what the Quran says. I appreciate all the knowledge you shared with us on this situation, Coach. Thank you. That's from Banks. I'm not sure which situation, but you're welcome, my brother. All right, guys, let's go. Last one. I've been trying to end this for a while now. My super chat. I've done 40 BJJ classes, and I'm beating the white belts in my class and some new blues. I focused on wrestling, top game, pin escapes, and subs. My pass prevention is okay with the white belts. What to focus on now? That's from Mike. Mike, I would tell you, Check out my last two videos. A guard, it's popping up on your screen right now. Guard pass prevention, volume 1, and guard pass prevention, volume 2. The powerful guard pass prevention. These two videos are really strong. Guard pass prevention is super important. Why is it super important? A lot of people do cardio. I will tell you something. Yes, cardio is super important, but guard retention is like cardio in a bottle. Why? Because if you're unable to pass my guard, man, you're unlikely to make me tired. And the thing is, I have to be able to retain guard without getting tired. So I got to do things right. If I do things right, I won't get tired. Now, being in shape helps, but knowing how to move your body in positions that won't allow the guy to put weight on you, won't allow a guy to make you work, is really the true key to stamina. I never allow you to make me work or carry your weight. I always deflect you. I never do any heavy lifting. That is the best cardio. Because you look at guys who are, really good at guard. They're not necessarily the best lifters, who's the best at guard? How much does he squat? Not much. How much does he run? Not much. His technique is very good. Now, being in shape is also important. I don't want to underestimate that. But if you're getting smash pass and half guard and you're getting crushed all the time, how much can you bench? It doesn't really help that much anymore. You're going to get tired. It's just, we need both. We need to balance efficiency and athleticism. We need both. Coach, how do we solve the PED problem in MMA, and how many current UFC champions do you believe are on PEDs? That's from Stealth Mode. This is really tough, man. Look, I don't know much about chemistry and testing and all that, but I would tell you I would love to see the sport be 100% clean. I wish. You know what I think they should do? I think they should look at every guy, and the guy they suspect the most. The guy doesn't make sense, like the guy 5 years ago looked like this and now he looks like that. Like the guy who raises a flag should get scrutinized, they should test him in a way he can't. Because the thing is, the way they test, from what I understand, is they test for certain things. No, that guy, let's spend a little more budget on him and test him for literally everything. And test him on Monday and come back on Wednesday and test him again and come back Saturday. And just test him and figure out why the guy looks the way he does, or why he's so suspicious. Figure it out. Now, test everybody, but some people are going to give us a red flag. It's going to be they should have caught Dillashaw before he ever got into the octagon. Why didn't they catch him? They've tested him many times. They probably tested him at least 20 times. They never got him. Well, something's wrong with the testing. So I just think, and I don't know much about testing and stuff like that, but I do know some. And one thing is, they don't test for everything on every panel. But it's expensive, right? I assume they have a budget. I mean, we have to live in reality here. I mean, ultimately, I'd love to throw money at the problem and test everybody for every single substance every single day. You can't do that. It doesn't make sense logistically, and the amount of money you'd probably be spending is crazy. But maybe there's a clever way. I'm just not that guy. I'm not the guy who knows the answer to that. Do you have any experience / advice with bulging discs, Coach? That's from User. User, go check out Strong and Stable Neck and Strong and Stable Back. The answers are all there, my friend. I've grandfathered that question. Go to jujiclub.com. Use Summer50 off, the promo code Summer50 off, and get 50% off. And get that video, my friend. Okay, guys, I got to throw away one immature person in here. All right, guys, we really got to end this now. I want to end it on something fun and light. Do you have any experience / advice? Oh, yeah, we did that one. Love from India. Got that one. Okay, good. Beautiful. All right, guys. Something funny, something light. Coach, do you like dogs? That's from Larry Bird. Okay, guys, I'm going to end on this. Yes, I love dogs. I absolutely love dogs. I love cats, dogs, birds, fish. I like all pets. However, I don't have a dog because if I had a dog, I'd want to have 2 dogs, a big giant property where they can run around, have fun in the backyard, and it's warm all year round, and they had a house outside. Because I don't want the dog in my house, in my space, slobbering everywhere, dander everywhere. Dogs are a big, they're a big responsibility. And I'd want to make sure that my dog has plenty of exercise. I don't have time to walk a dog. I love dogs. I don't have to walk him. I don't have time to walk him. I don't want to be stuck with a dog, in the house. The smell, it's an animal still, like I'm not that comfortable. Okay. There's a cleanliness issue, they need to be walked, they need to be taken to the vet on a regular basis. They need a lot of care. Now, if they had the place to roam and they were more protecting my property and I could have somebody take care of them and I was that rich, that I have all this land, and then I would definitely have dogs because I love dogs, man. I love how loyal they are. I love how they love their master, their owner, how much love and care and how cute they are and how like their personalities shine, and each dog has a different personality. Now I have cats because cats are super ultra easy. Now my wife and daughter are cat fanatics. They love cats. Talk about the cats. They're always cuddling with the cats. The cat did this. Look, I like my cats, but I have more fun with the dog, like throwing the ball, playing fetch. I see they're more loyal, they're more loving, and like they're just happy to see you. You come home, they just want to spend a minute, like every minute with you. They love their masters. That loyalty, that energy they have when you come home. It's really cute. It's really adorable how much they love their master. You come home, your cat's like on the couch, doesn't care you're there, doesn't care. Sometimes it'll come up and it'll show you some love, but it's not as dedicated as a dog, man. A dog, it hears you pull up in the driveway, it's already jumping up and down. It's like, oh, he's here. I haven't seen him in 8 hours. Oh, the dog's foaming like it's kind of loves it. And when you see it, it's running around. It's like circling around you, wagging its tail. It loves you. Wow, man. All this for me. All this because my dog loves me so much. It's just incredible, man. And they just have that loyalty, that look in their face like they love you. A cat, nah. Him again, nah. You can't tell a cat, hey, come here. I know he'll come. He might come, he might not. He doesn't give a shit about you. A dog, hey, boy. He bolts through it. He just wants your attention. Like a dog, if you're laying down on the couch, he'll lay down on the couch and put his body up against the couch just because if he's not allowed on the couch, that's as close as he's allowed to get to you, he'll be there. Like he always wants to be by his master. It's adorable how much they love their owners. And unfortunately in Canada, it's very difficult to have a dog. One, he has to live in the house. Two, you have to walk him every day. It's winter, it's rainy, it's cold, it's icy. Who the hell wants to go and walk all the way to the park, wait around in the freezing cold for your dog to do his business, pick up his business, take it, put it in the trash? Oh my goodness, man. A dog is so much work. A cat, I have a door. They go in and out. They do their business out of the house, in the house. I have an automatic cat toilet. It's almost zero upkeep. It's almost literally zero upkeep. Having a cat is super easy. And not that I ever forget to feed my cats. I never forget to feed my cats. My wife and daughter always feed the cats. But let's say I forgot to feed the cats. Let me tell you, my cats will go out and hunt food. They'll go find the mouse and eat it. My cats, they kill any mice around my house. Like they go outside. Like when I go in my driveway, sometimes I find a dead mouse. I know my cats killed that mouse. Like they find rodents and they kill them and they eat them. They eat about half of it and they just discard the rest. I don't know why they only eat like half, but they discard the rest. And oftentimes I have rodents on my driveway, on my sidewalk, in my grass. I have a dead rodent. And I've seen my cats, my own eyes, catch birds. Like I have a lot of trees around my house. They go up in the tree. They stalk these birds and they just pounce on them, eat them, bite them, throw them to the ground and jump back down the tree and eat them. It's just insane. Cats are crazy good hunters. Crazy good hunters. If you don't feed your cat and he can go in and out of the house, again, I always feed the cats, but let's say he'll go find his own food. That's why he doesn't need you. A dog, he'll starve to death. He can't hunt. That's why I think that's one reason why the dog is so loyal and so loving. Because, like, they need you, man. Hey, that guy's my meal, man. That's the guy with the food. He's the one who gives me food every day. The cat, yeah, you give him food every day. Like today, I was eating shrimp. I cut a shrimp and I put it in my cat's bowl. Do you think he cares? Yeah, he cares. He likes shrimp. But do you think tomorrow he's going to show me some love and loyalty? Nah, whatever. Because if I didn't give him that shrimp, he'll go out, find something for himself. Cats are they're not as affectionate. So ultimately, I love the dogs. Okay, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you guys had fun. Please like, share, comment, and I'll see you all in the next episode.